America, I keep telling y'all that I'm the hardest working man in business. I mean that. Because unlike Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, whoever else might be grabbing your attention in major sports media, I'm going to always put in that extra work. So I didn't just listen to Scottie Pippen's comments in his interviews about the book and read the book cover to cover. And before I reacted to it, I wanted to make sure I finished it so I can be thorough when I came on here to talk to y'all. And the thing that I gathered from the book, the overall thing was that Scottie is sending mixed messages. That's what I get from the book. I still love Scottie dearly. Y'all fuck with me for real, y'all know I was a childhood Bulls fan because of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But because of that, I became a fan of Scottie Pippen too. He was right there. You know, he was indispensable to the Chicago Bulls. As I've said before, he's my third favorite player of all time behind Mike and Bean, Kobe Bean Bryant. And after reading the book, that still holds true. Okay. But I can't count. The book gives mixed messages. Okay. Let's look at it. From the first standpoint, when you talk about Scottie's upbringing, I don't think that's highlighted enough what this man has done for his family, what this man has been able to overcome in his life. With his brother being struck in the back by a bully and becoming paralyzed. Like the trauma of that, probably the anger that went with that, and then the responsibility that came with having to take care of that brother. That was a lot to deal with. Then you couple that with the fact that his dad had a stroke, and they touched on this in The Last Dance, but in the book, he goes into more detail. Like, dad basically had a stroke in front of him. You know what I'm saying? He said his dad was a hardworking guy and all that kind of stuff. But after that, he became more responsibility for Scottie and his siblings and his mother. You know what I'm saying? So coming from that, and then you fast forward to his career in the league, and y'all see him take this bad contract that they alluded to. Come on, man. It's common sense to understand why Scottie did that. He came from a house where you could see that your ability to function can be taken from you just like that. So that man was just trying to get some security for himself and his family. I think the true villains when it comes to him being underpaid, that's Jerry Reinsdorf and Jerry Krause. But more importantly, that's Jerry Reinsdorf. He's the owner. He's the one cutting the check. He's the one that's talking about I'm not going to renegotiate all that. Motherfucker, why not? Are they not out here goddamn turning up? Are they not out here winning championships? Are they not out here making money for you? You know the man's situation. You know where he's coming from in Hamburg, Arkansas. He should have been able to have his contract renegotiated. So that's the villain when it comes to that contract. I ain't putting that on Scottie. You can say, oh, that's a bad deal. He should have been thinking. Come on, bro. When you come from trauma like that, you're going to deal with trauma in a similar way. Okay? So that's totally understandable. But then when you get into some of the basketball shit, and you look at Pip's high school career, and you look at Pip's college career, Pip being quite forthright in the book. He came up short. You know, once he was kind of overlooked in all these instances, you know what I'm talking about? He wasn't just a guy coming up and they knew he was gonna be the one when he got to high school. No, he had to get a chance. And he made good on that. But they didn't win the ship. In college, overlooked. Nobody really fucking with him, but he ends up going to Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas. Eventually becomes a two-time All-American there. But again, comes up short. And in the book, he puts a lot of it on himself. You know what I'm saying? In various moments where he came up short. So again, you fast forward to the 1.8 seconds thing and why Phil gave the last shot to Tony Kukoc instead of Pip. It makes sense. It's consistent with what Pip in the book admittedly says, like he missing clutch free throws and all that kind of stuff in these situations. He admits in the book that very year in the 93-94 season that Tony Kukoc had hit some game winners earlier in the season. You know what I'm saying? Now, he wasn't trying to hit that shit. He makes that clear in the book. He wasn't trying to hear that shit from Phil, you know what I'm saying, and Phil's reasoning for giving Tony the last shot. Pip say he was done with Phil after that. But again, here go the mixed message. He was done with Phil after that, but he's in the book, he praises Phil for being willing to use a triangle offense and being willing to not kowtow to Mike. But you say it's fuck Phil Jackson after he gave the last shot to Tony Kukoc. Now, he did back off of the statements about him being racist, okay? He did, because that would come on. As we stated on the show, it's not far-fetched that a old white man in the United States would be racist now, okay? That's not far-fetched. But Scottie's reasoning behind it that he gave Tony the last shot because he was white. Of course, we thought Mike blacker than your ass, Pip. And he was giving his ass last shot. Like, so we saw that didn't make sense. But that's what I'm saying about the mixed messages. Okay. So he did this love-hate relationship with Phil, but a hate relationship with Doug Collins. Okay. Don't forget, when Pip first came into the league, Doug Collins was the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Okay. So in the 87-88 season, Pip was coming off the bench his rookie year. All right. They had a motherfucker named Brad Sellers in the starting lineup, which, if you watch the game, yeah, Pip should have been starting off top. He just should have been starting off top. But he did get his chance in the playoffs, but they still ended up getting bounced by the Pistons in the semifinals that year. Then you get to the 88-89 season, and they do go to the conference finals. They lose to the Pistons in 6, but it wasn't like Doug Collins was just trash, but Pip did not fuck with Doug Collins. He felt like he gave in to Michael. That everything was just Michael-centric. Michael, whatever Michael wanted to do, the whole offense was Michael. If Doug Collins had kept that job, Michael Jordan would have had a Brun stat line with 30 balls. Like, I know our prime Brun is 27-8-8 or 27-7-7 consistently. Well, under Doug Collins, that's what Mike was doing. He go get you 35-8-8. You know what I'm saying? But Pip was like, that was not fun ball. Therefore, he loved when Phil got the job because Phil would listen to Tex Winter and implement the triangle. So, you know what I'm saying? You love Phil for that, but then when Phil didn't give him the last shot, it was fuck Phil. Mixed messages. But of course, the elephant in the room is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Pip is very flattering towards Mike in his book. Like, if you get a chance, cop the book and read the book. Pip is very, very flattering of Mike in this book. But at the same time, in the book, he kind of alludes to the fact that he believes that he was just as good as Mike. Like, in the book, it's instances in which he says stuff like, only Michael Jordan could do this, or all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's moments where he like, I highlighted this. He said basically Jordan was above him in the pecking order with the Bulls only because he got there first. Not that he was better than him, but he was drafted before he did. He was in Chicago. So basically saying if he had made it to the Bulls first, he would have done some of the same thing. Mixed messages. He talks about how he did not have that leadership component that Mike had. Okay. He talked like for instance, when he goes to the Blazers, he says they were wildly talented, but they didn't have that leader. They didn't have that guy who can just get on the team, you know what I'm saying, and pull the best out of them. And he says in the book, he questions why he wasn't that guy. So he says this, but at the same time, he tried to act like Mike wasn't the leader of the Bulls. He tried to act like he was the true leader of the Bulls. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is this. I love Scottie Pippen. Scottie Maurice Pippen. That's my dog. Glad I bought the book. Glad I read the book. I wasn't shocked by the fact that him and Mike are not and were never best friends. I knew that from the Jordan rules. Now, if this is a childhood me, I would have been shocked by that because they seem just hand in glove. You know what I'm saying? Pippen, Mike, Jordan and Pippen. You know what I'm saying? And Mike and Scottie. It's just, you know what I'm saying? They out there defending on the wings. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't shocked that they are not the best of friends. Y'all see, Mike an asshole. Mike is an asshole, okay? So he probably is tough to be friends with. But Scott is something else too. Scott is something else too. Some of the diva shit that he didn't like that Mike was able to get away with. Pip wanted that shit. Pip wanted those opportunities to be on that. Shit, he talked about it like when he was in college. There was an instance where he thought the bus wasn't supposed to lead him because he the best player on the team. He talked about how delaying the surgery because he didn't want to fuck his sum up. He talked about that in the Last Dance. But what he did that summer was getting married, to Larsa Pippen. Now, I ain't gonna go into all the crazy shit. I know how folks on social media do Pip because of the whole future situation and all that stuff. I'm not gonna do that. That's still the mother of that man's children. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just letting y'all know what the man say he was doing that summer. Okay. I don't want to leave this out. Don't want to leave this out. One of the main things that Pip is pissed about from the Last Dance is that he doesn't think that game 6, I want to say, of the 1992 finals is highlighted enough, in which Mike was not playing that well, you know what I'm saying, tired, and Pip in the second unit really brought the team back. And then Mike came in the fourth quarter and kind of finished off the deal. He think that should have been highlighted more to show how it's not the ultimate team game because that's football, but to show that it is a team game. You know what I'm saying? And you can argue that should have been highlighted more in there. But I knew about that game because that game is heavily highlighted and Michael Jordan airtime. In that documentary, Jordan admits that he was tired, which is that's small bullshit that's got out of the way. Now motherfuckers try to act like Michael Jordan never got tired. Come on, man, it's a human being. But he admits he was tired in that game. Pip and the second unit did their motherfucking job, and they brought them boys back, and he came in there, you know what I'm saying, and closed the show. So it was heavily highlighted in that documentary. I guess Pip wanted it highlighted here. But here's my point. Pip is complaining about what was highlighted and what was not highlighted, but something that was over highlighted in that goddamn documentary that continues to perpetuate a lie was Pip guarding Magic Johnson in the 1991 NBA Finals. Pip guarded Magic Johnson in game 2, and game 2 alone. And Pip did not dispel that rumor, that misinformation in his book. He let that shit linger on. If you go back and watch the games, the 1991 NBA Finals, all of them are on YouTube, you will see that in game 1, Michael Jordan guarded Magic Johnson. Game 2, he guarded Magic Johnson so he got in foul trouble. Then Pip took over and did what he did. Pip did what he did. Game 3, Michael Jordan went back to Magic Johnson and he stayed on Magic Johnson the rest of that motherfucking series. Pip does not dispel that misinformation because he wants people to think that he was a better defender than Mike. He even goes as far in the book to say the only reason Michael Jordan averaged more steals than him for his career was that Michael would gamble more often, which that would hurt the team. That this is Pip talking basically. And that statisticians would give Mike steals when they weren't even his steals. That's what Pip does in the book. I'm telling y'all, mixed messages. This is a brother who been through a lot, child. This is a brother who had to take care of his father, who had to take care of his brother, who had to put on for a big family financially, and who just lost his son. So I'm going to shout out my dog, Scottie Pippen. Mixed messages or not, I still love him. He's still one of the greatest wing defenders of all time. Still one of the greatest overall players of all time. I do think he was blessed to have played alongside Mike. I don't think as a one, if he had to be a one his whole career, I think his career would have gone very, very different. But for the role that he played with the Chicago Bulls, he was indispensable. Without him, as Mike said, those titles wouldn't have been won. Now, would Mike have won titles with somebody else who was all-star worthy? Hell yeah. He just needed somebody to hoop with. Okay? But for what Pip brought to the table, with his athleticism and his defense, his knowledge of the triangle, once they implemented that, and his willingness to let Mike do his thing, because Pip knew deep down he ain't had that in him. And he needed somebody to goddamn be that dog and take those shots and all that kind of stuff. It worked perfectly. So shout out to my dog, Scottie Maurice Pippen. I enjoyed the book. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit StatementTeesLLC.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.